All gas, no brake.
And now we have liftoff. Welcome into the Now We Have Liftoff New York Jets podcast. And of course, on this lovely Tuesday evening, I am your host, John June. And of course, this guy to my left is Frank Chimpiccolo. Frank, what's good, man?
What's good, my brother? How we feeling today?
You know, a few more days removed from the Jets' last loss, so I'm a little bit better than I am on this usual Tuesday here, but it's another Tuesday, another week, and as we've had to do for 6 of the weeks that we've had here thus far, got to talk about a Jets loss here. So, Frank, the Jets lost 45-30 on Thursday Night Football primetime to the previously 3-5 Indianapolis Colts. That game had a 10.5 point over under. We were both a little confused about that. Thought that the Jets having played the way they did against the Bengals, Indianapolis having played the way they've played just over the course of the season, this could be a game in which the Jets should not be double-digit underdogs. And the score was not as the score makes it seem closer than the game actually was when you look at that. Like the fact that the Jets actually could have conceivably been in position to tie the game with 3 minutes left on the clock. Obviously they would have had to score, get a 2-point conversion, or they could have gone for that later, whatever order you want to go in. But they could have gone, they could have scored, they could have kicked an onside kick, scored again, and potentially taken this game in overtime. So to think that could have happened with 3 minutes left in this game, after watching it for the first 3 quarters, 3 and whatever quarters, however long of the fourth quarter it was, crazy. But the big news that came out of this game, Frank, Mike White was injured, injured forearm. Said he couldn't really grip the ball, couldn't get that power and that velocity on it the way that he really would have wanted to help his team out. Threw for 95 yards in a quarter. I'm almost convinced if you take Josh Johnson came in relief, he had a 300-yard day. If you take those two, Mike White seemed like he was on his way to another 400-yard day there. But Frank, I got to ask you, what are your overall thoughts of the way that this offense has looked? I mean, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It has looked better without Zachwilson as the trigger man. It has looked better run. It has looked more efficient. It has looked more effective. It's like it just moves better, right? Like there's first downs, they're stringing them together, they're getting drives, they're able to score points in the first quarter. Frank, what are your overall thoughts on that?
Well, first things first, I think when we talk about the Colts game, I don't think Mike White can't sit out that whole game. Like, I know he said he couldn't grip the ball and he didn't have any feeling, but you got to make some attempt in that second half to try to get back in that game. Opportunities are few and far between in the NFL, especially where he's coming from as a late round draft pick, cut by Dallas, practice squad how many times?
I mean, but to be fair, Frank, right? Like this isn't like an ankle injury or a knee injury. You kind of push.
I get
through.
it.
You
I
can't.
get it.
He said his 2 middle fingers couldn't grip the football. If you can't grip the football as a quarterback, you're literally putting your team at a disservice.
I don't know. He was going through his, like, to me, it feels kind of sketchy. He's going to his presser, and now he's saying, I finally got my strength back. Like, I don't know. Maybe it's just just me and the offensive lineman in me. Like,
I think it's the fact you've never had to throw a football.
yeah, it's quite possibly. No, between my legs. I throw it between my legs. Or I had to throw it between my legs. But we both know that doesn't count because if I had to throw an actual football, it'd be quite ugly.
Probably like it would have looked if Mike White had re-entered that game under the circumstances with which you're asking him to. No, but
to get back to your original question on how this offense has looked, I just don't think anyone's trying too hard. Like, you saw Zach Wilson trying too hard. You saw Mike LaFleur trying too hard to get those splash plays that Zach Wilson's capable of. But I feel like those plays from Zach have got to be organic. Like, they got to be when he's feeling something coming where he spins out and throws to Correydavis, Elijahmoore, whoever it is, right down the field. But I think this could be a good lesson for Zach because he's seeing the game, as Robertsalah likes to say, in the lens of another quarterback, and now he's seen it through two separate quarterbacks. So maybe the light bulb starts to go off in his head and be like, okay, I can take my shots, but for the majority of the game, I could rip it down the field with these short passes. And then once those safeties and linebackers start moving up, that's when I could take my shots with Moore and Correydavis. And what's even more surprising is the offense has looked good without Correydavis. Like, he hasn't played in these two games. This is just keelancole, Elijahmoore. It's great to see Elijahmoore finally, like, starting to break out, the receiver that we thought, especially you, when we drafted him in the second round. Like, that deep pass that he had over the middle. I'm not even going to talk about the touchdown because the first touchdown, they just left him wide open. But that route where he faked the corner and did a post, and it looked like he just put on the Jets. Like, he just left, I forget which D-back it was, but he just left him in the dust. Like, he had no shot, and Mike White put a good ball on him. But, the offensive line's still a concern. Like, you saw that pressure, even with how fast Mike White got rid of the ball, that Connor McGovern cannot block anything, and it's quite sad. And it literally drives me insane all the time.
Yeah, I mean, to your original point about Zach Wilson being able to look at this game through two different lenses of two different quarterbacks, right? I think that's huge because it allows Zach Wilson to be able to say, hey, I don't have to make that amazing play all the time. I can come out and hit my backs in the flats. I can hit the check down every now and then. I don't have to go for the big play. I can try to if it's first and 10, I don't have to try to make it a first down, right? I can 2nd and 7 is not a bad play, right? Like 2nd and 9 is not a bad play. And so I think learning those things is going to be good. And I think what also helps is, you talked about, we kind of talked about this a little bit off air, is the fact that Zach Wilson has a tendency a lot of times, you talk about making those plays down the field, those escape plays. He has a tendency to break a perfectly fine pocket, right? And you've seen this from Mike White. Like, Mike White is not mobile by any means, right? But Mike White also has not taken a lot of sacks, and the reason is Mike White moves within the pocket. Mike White knows how to step up, step around a defender, and be able to get the ball out, and create some opportunities with his arm and with his pocket movement. And so the fact that Josh Johnson is a mobile quarterback himself, and the fact that Josh Johnson is able to do some of those same things in terms of staying within the pocket and not moving and delivering the ball accurately should show Zach Wilson, like, hey, these plays are there to be made. These throws are there to be made. I just have to make them, and so I think that that's going to be huge. We saw this with Sam Darnold, his rookie year. He had to miss, I believe it was 3 games as a rookie, and he came back and he was ultimately better for it down the stretch, and he talked about how the game slowed down for him and whatnot. And so I think, Zach Wilson can benefit from that as well, especially, you have some veteran quarterbacks in the room with Josh Johnson and Joe Flacco who know how to, who have been there. They know how to prepare, and just watching how they prepare and how they take notes and what things they're looking for in terms of the film analysis. I think that's all going to be huge. But I also think that, Mike LaFleur has benefited a lot from, some of the changes that have been made, right? Like, one of the things that's been talked about ad nauseum is this him between the sideline and up in the booth. And I know we've talked about it as well, how we think that him being up in the booth is ultimately going to be better for him, allows him to see the field better, be able to anticipate more as a play caller, get a step ahead of the defense. But another thing that's probably helped is the addition of John Beck to the staff, right? And that's something that probably happened, it had to happen sometime after the bye, but before the Cincy game, because he wasn't there for the New England game. But uh, he seems like, again, we won't know if we don't know if Mike LaFleur in the box is because it was Mike White's first start, so he went up to the box, or was it, hey, they hired John Beck and so now you can go up into the box? I don't really know, but the Jets, what we do know is Zach Wilson wanted Mike LaFleur on the sideline to be that presence for him, to talk with him, to go through some things, whereas so he could talk to him personally and go through, the things on the Surface tablet with him. But now he has John Beck, who we already know they have a pre-existing relationship. John Beck is who trains he's trained Zach Wilson basically all through Zach Wilson's BYU career, has trained Zach Wilson for, the pre-draft, even did a, bye week tune-up for Zach Wilson as well. So, he'll be, Zach Wilson's eyes on the sideline, showing him, telling him things that he might be doing wrong mechanically or with his footwork, almost like like a personal swing coach there for Zach Wilson when he comes off the sideline. And you've already seen him helping out Mike White as well. John Beck has, and so I think this is a good addition to the staff, especially if it makes Mike LaFleur better. Frank, what about you?
Yeah, we need to remember that this was supposed to be Napper's role when Napper got hired before he tragically got ran over by that vehicle. And let's not forget that we got Kavanaugh down there also, right? Kavanaugh is an experienced coach, but I think it was smart by the Jets to bring in Zach's quarterback coach Beck, right? Because when you look at it, as well as Mike White is playing, and I know some of us Jet fans, not me and you, but have compared this situation to the Mo Lewis New England Patriots situation. But let's not forget that Zach Wilson is not yet Drew Bledsoe. Drew Bledsoe was a good quarterback in this league. It just happened
That's why it's easier to move on, Frank. I'm just kidding.
It drives me insane. It really does.
Nah, ultimately, I mean, like Robert Salah has already said, when Zach Wilson's healthy, he'll be the starter.
As it should. He's going to be. If these two guys are going to have a lengthy, and two guys, I mean Joe Douglas and Robert Salah, if these two gentlemen are going to have a lengthy run with the Jets, it's not going to be because of Mike White's success. It's going to be because of Zach Wilson's success. Because as good as Mike White has played, I think we've seen the ceiling, right? Like the ceiling is going to be those those check downs. You don't even see, like you saw from Tom Brady, that he's capable of pushing the ball downfield, but you didn't see that so far with Mike White. He had that one deep pass against Indy to Elijahmoore and that incompletion the week before at Cincy. So yeah, he's got a bullet, like he bullets it in there, but we haven't seen him be confident enough to use it, and he definitely doesn't have that extra athleticism that Zach has. So if the Jets staff plans on going forward, it's not going to be with Mike White. And I like Mike White. He's a good backup. And I don't think the Jets knew what they had in Mike White, because if they did, they wouldn't have traded a 6th-round draft pick to Philly for Joe Flacco, who's not going to see the field now. He'll probably going to end up getting cut when the Jets bring on Zach Wilson to start or back up Mike White. Whenever that is.
We're gonna have to see what happens for sure. Like, look, Salah has already he's come out and he said, like, yeah, Zach Wilson will be the starter, but if Mike White goes out here, throws for another 400 yards, and the Jets beat the Buffalo Bills on Sunday, like, I don't know how he can just so quickly go back to Zach Wilson. So this is, I don't think we're going to.
You know what's going to happen? He's not going to be healthy enough to start. That's what's going to be said.
He's not fully healthy, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's going to be the narrative.
Because that was the caveat, that he has to be fully healthy. Once he's fully healthy, he'll be the starter again. So,
which is fine by me, right? Like,
because it's a delicate situation, right? Like, once you open that box, like once you close the Mike White box, like
there's no going back.
It's very hard to open it back up.
Yeah,
right? Like,
exactly.
Once you say, okay, no, Zach's healthy, and you put Zach back in, and you don't like what you see, and you're like, hey, Mike White was giving us a better chance to win, and you put Mike White back in, like, it's broken. Like, you can't, like, it's very tough to go back to Zach at that point without having questions.
And you also have to look at the locker room, right? Because this is supposed to be the best man plays, and if you are not playing the person that's going to give your team the best chance to win, the locker room is going to see that, and they're probably not going to like that too much, and now you're going to start losing credibility, and you're preaching competition. That's all you've been talking about is competition at every position. That's why we're starting all these young cornerbacks. That's why Elijahmoore is starting. That's why Michaelcarter is starting. And now, because you invested a 2nd-round draft pick into this kid, you're going to insert him just because. What was that?
Not a 2nd-round draft pick, the number 2 overall.
Yeah, that's what you know what I meant.
I know, but
I know it came out wrong.
It changes this.
I know it does. I know. But I don't know. Like, go with the hot hand. See what you got. Run it to that well runs dry, I say, because we're not going to be anything anyways this year, right? So, and if you could teach the other young guys how to win, I think that has value, right? Because we always said this is going to be a 2 to 3 year period. But if you could teach these young guys now how to win, that might speed up the process a little bit.
No, absolutely. And I think ultimately all of this is good for Zach as well, right? Like, the fact that that, oh, shoot, there's a guy behind me that can, let's just say it, flat out, he can outplay me, he's outplayed me. His best game is better than my best game thus far, right? Like, you could say that 400 yards, 2 touchdowns, like the fact that he took every single rep, like all through every first team rep while he was here, while he was healthy, all through OTAs, all through minicamp, like all of it. There was nobody here to really pressure him. And even look at Sam Darnold, right? Sam Darnold didn't have any of that. Mark Sanchez didn't have that. So these guys, they didn't have they didn't have to earn this job, right? And Zach Wilson has gone through this before, right? His last season at BYU, he wasn't the starter. He had to earn the job. And so I think ultimately this can only be good for Zach, because if Zach crumbles because a guy in his room is playing better than him or could look like he can beat him, then Zach Wilson wasn't it, right? He wasn't it to begin with. So we'll find out, sure enough. Again, if Mike White goes out there and has a spectacular day against Buffalo and they win, or it's a close loss, and then I think
if he looks spectacular against Buffalo, that's when we're really gonna have to start sitting down and thinking about what we're going to do going forward, because that's a top 3 total defense in the league.
No, that defense
according to PFF.
Is one of the best defenses in the league, regardless of the metrics, PFF, DVOAs, whatever you want to look at. Buffalo is probably going to be highly ranked up there. And so, again, if Mike White does play well, then, yeah, I think, again, Zach Wilson is not fully healthy. We will address it next weekend. But, we'll see. We'll see what happens, right? There's no – good thing we don't have this thing doesn't have to be set in stone right now,
even though they say that they're gonna choose their quarterback tomorrow.
I mean, he's already come out and said.
No, they haven't come out and said anything yet.
Oh, they haven't said anything, but all indications have pretty much been that Mike White will be the guy. You talked about Elijahmoore a little bit. He had himself a breakout game here. 7 catches on 8 targets, 84 yards, 2 touchdowns. Made me happy in fantasy land because he was the number 1 wide receiver in PPR leagues this week. So it was nice to talk about on the Fantasy Football Diagnostics podcast.
I'm glad I had him on the bench in the league that we're running together.
Yeah. Was not a league, or was not a week where I had him in a lot of lineups. I did have him in some of my deeper leagues where I needed a receiver or flex spot or something like that. But yeah, a lot of my more standard leagues, when I say standard, I mean like 12-team PPR, not super deep rosters, he was on my bench. So don't feel bad about that one. Nothing else really that stuck out offensively. Michael Carter didn't have a great day. I mean, this is a good Indianapolis front 7 though too. So I was not expecting him to have a huge day. But let's talk about the defense. Or were you going to say something?
All I was going to say is we still can't run the football.
No.
That's a problem. That's a problem.
Who cares? This team won't be running the ball anyway, Frank. Are you kidding me? This team is a throwing team now. Have you seen them? Back-to-back games, 400 yards passing. There's no way you become a run. You don't become a three yards in a cloud of dust team after that. But let's talk about this defense that ours truly, Frank Jim Piccolo once dubbed dominant a couple weeks ago. We call that the Frank curse.
The kiss of death.
It's not a kiss I ever want, but
don't
even start. Don't even start. Just go back on mute.
You already knew.
Yeah. But this defense here that Frank cursed, gave them the kiss of death. They have plummeted. They were once promising, and they're now last or second to last in basically every single major defensive category. So they can't stop the run. They can't stop the pass. They can't stop you from scoring points. And it's going to get worse because Marcus May is out for the year with a torn Achilles. So the back end is going to get a lot worse. Big time worse. Frank, what were your thoughts, man, on the defense and where does it go from here?
This game in particular, we talked about it a little bit off air. I think has to go on the coaching staff a little bit, right? They got punched in the mouth, and it didn't seem like they made any adjustments. Like Jonathan Taylor looked like he was 8 yards past the line of scrimmage before anyone laid a hand on him. And we knew this was going to be a tough matchup because, in my opinion, Jonathan Taylor is top 5 running back in the league, and the Colts are top 5 offensive line in the league. And Frank Reich loves running the football. They love playing smash mouth, run the ball down your throat. And the Jets are not a big defensive line. Like, they're very quick and athletic. So I thought the Jets should have maybe slanted into the gaps a little bit more instead of trying to play, catch and release and trying to fight through those blocks. But I don't know. Ever since the Jets switched to this 4-3 this year, it kind of seems like the teams are able to run the ball down our throats. And I can't remember the last time the Jets have had a defense where teams were able to run the ball like they have been this year. Like, Salah talked about a little bit in his post-game press conference, the difference between this and the New England game. Like, there's kind of built-in excuses for, getting the ball thrown on you, right? Like, that's correctable. You getting punched in the mouth repeatedly and you can't do anything about it. Like, that to your psyche, I don't know how you fix that.
You have a come to Jesus meeting or something, brother. There's no other way to fix that. I mean, you see that or you start selling out to stop the run, and the Jets can't afford to do that. So I think this is a problem that they're going to face pretty much all year long. I mean, if you look at their upcoming schedule, Buffalo, Miami, Houston, those are teams that can't run the ball. So I think that, Buffalo chooses not to. Miami and Houston can't. So, maybe you come up. It actually just gave me some joy. You look at some games that the Jets got coming up, they could actually win a couple. Like, let's see a game where they might be.
I think the Jets are going to win 4 out of the next 5 after this week.
Let's not get too crazy. No, it's not crazy. Let's not get too ahead of ourselves.
All right.
Yes. It's not crazy.
When you look at the opponents, it's definitely not.
No,
crazy.
It's not. It's definitely not crazy. Buffalo, Miami, Houston, Philly, New Orleans. I think they could probably get 3 of those. I don't think they can get the New Orleans game. They can't get the Buffalo game. Those 3 in the middle, you got to try and get.
Well, you got 2 with Miami, right?
It's the 6th game is with Miami.
That's why I said 4 out of the 5 after the Buffalo game.
Oh, after Buffalo. Okay,
I'm
with you.
Buffalo.
Yep. I'm with you. So yeah, we'll definitely have to see what happens here going forward with this run defense, but you definitely have to imagine they're going to try to get this fixed. I don't know how. I think Carl Lawson obviously was a huge blow to the defense. They're going to miss him. They miss him for sure. And I'm sure he could have helped out a little bit, but I think between him getting, between the defense trying to make up for the loss of Carl Lawson as a pass rusher, they've handicapped themselves in a little bit as a run defense. So, we'll have to see how they handle that going forward. I don't think this is a fix that you can make on the fly in season. Again, like I said, Marcus May being out definitely hurts, but this is one that is going to have you're going to have to correct it in the offseason, right? Like, you're not going to get a guy like Carl Lawson back right now. You're not going to get Vinny Curry back right now. Kyle Phillips seems to be making his way back, but this is a fixture. This is something you're going to have to fix in the offseason. So I will definitely see how they address it.
Where's
happens.
JFN been?
It seems like him and Quinnen have switched spots on the milk carton.
Like, it'd be nice for them both to be playing well at the same time. Like, that would be nice.
That would be nice.
Like, there's no rule that says they can't play well at the same time, right? Did I miss something?
No.
Okay. I just thought maybe I missed a Jets D-line rule because that's like when we had Sheldon and Muhammad. Like, one of them would play well, and then the other one would suck for periods of times. Like, I just thought maybe it was a Jets D-line thing where we can't have two good defensive linemen play well at the same time.
Frank, did you not realize, we cannot have nice things?
I know. It's frustrating.
Mike White goes out 400 yards next week, gets a little tingle in his forearm, and he can't throw a football. So
that's exactly how I felt. I was like, oh, I can't feel my little fingers. Get back in there, buddy. All seriousness, Mike. Mike White. If you're listening, I'm sure it probably scared the hell out of you that you couldn't grip a football.
Mike, if you ever want to come on, we'd love to have you, brother. Just give us a ring. We'll call you, or you call us. How about that? Anyways, Frank, anything else on this game? No, right?
No, let's bury it.
I don't think we're gonna bury it. No, it was okay. I mean, look, once Mike White got injured, how invested were you in this game other than being a Jets fan?
Well, I'm always invested being that I'm a Jets fan, but
how invested?
I really thought he was going to come back at some point. Like, when I saw him get hurt and they're talking about his injury, I was like, there's no way he's not going to play the rest of the game.
Once he didn't come back at halftime, I was like, he's not coming back.
Yeah, at that point, yeah. But Josh Johnson was balling out at that point, and I was like, all right, let's go.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a little selfish, right? Like, I have a decent amount of Jonathan Taylor in fantasy football, and
you better not on this podcast. You better not on this podcast. Better not. Go away, John. Go away.
Let's just say there might have been some cheers in my house when he went off for that 72-yard.
Everybody, I'm kicking him off right now. He's done. I'm kicking him off. What type of Jet fan are you, bro? How are they cheering? How are you cheering against your team?
Hey. You gotta give me some respect here. It's not like the Jets.
No, you get none.
No, it's not like what are the Jets doing for me to not enjoy Jonathan Taylor ripping off a 72-yard touchdown? Like why should I not feel joy from having that huge boost in all my fantasy lineups, seeing Jonathan Taylor rip off that run? It's not like he wasn't going to do it anyway. It's not like if I benched him and I wasn't cheering for him, it wasn't going to happen. The Jets were going to let him run wild anyway. So why couldn't I benefit from that?
You did benefit. You shouldn't have been cheering while the game was going on. And you definitely shouldn't have been admitting to cheering.
I was excited about my fantasy.
Bad guy. You're a bad guy. You're a bad guy.
The Jets are a bad
Jets fan. You're right. They are a very bad team. There's no disagreeing with you there.
Oh, man. I can't wait to put this poll up on Twitter.
Run it up the pole.
Stop the count. All right. Let's move on to the real business.
Maybe I'll actually win a poll this week. That would be nice.
Well, you got to stop being on the wrong side of them, Frank. That's the start.
Freeman McNeil's still the real 24, by the way.
I don't think you want to go back there.
I don't. I don't. I don't.
But this next segment here is brought to you by DraftKings Sportsbook. And football fans, who's ready to score some free bets? Now you can win. Wow. Now you can when you bet on any NFL game this week with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. New customers who bet just $1 on either team to score can win $100 in free bets. When a team scores, you score. If Sportsbook isn't available in your state yet, DraftKings won't leave you empty-handed. Everyone can win. Everyone can play for huge cash prizes all season long with DraftKings daily fantasy sports contest. DraftKings is giving all new customers a free shot at millions of dollars in total prizes with their first deposit. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use promo code TPPN. Bet $1 on either team to score and win $100 in free bets. If they score, you score with promo code TPPN this week at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Must be 21 or older. New Jersey, Indiana, or Pennsylvania only. New customers only. Minimum $5 deposit and $1 wager required. One per customer. Restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. And surely, wow, sorry. And I was just reading what somebody was writing to me in the comment section here. They couldn't wait for for me to get out of here. I struggled through the read a little bit here, and I'm talking about my co-host Frank Jim Piccolo. But slowly but surely, I got through it.
You did. Do we need to buy you a Hooked on Phonics?
Oh wow, that was low.
I love you though.
That was low.
I struggled last week. You struggled this week. We'll get there.
That's crazy. You know what? I quit. I'm just kidding. All right. So
I would have cried. I would cry.
well, you should, because that was upsetting. Almost as upsetting as Odell Beckham signing with the Patriots.
Shut up.
No, he didn't sign, but he's been in contact with them.
You literally gave me a heart attack.
I know. It was revenge for the Hooked on Phonics joke.
Yeah.
Anyway, the Buffalo Bills are 12.5 point underdogs, or 12.5 point favorites, as the New York Jets are 12.5 point underdogs. This game has a 47.5 point total. And of course, this line is provided to you by DraftKings Sportsbook. The Bills are coming off a pretty embarrassing loss to the Jacksonville Jaguars, where Josh Allen was intercepted by Josh Allen. First time ever.
Josh Allen destroyed Josh Allen in that game.
This is also true, which means we're probably going to get an angry Josh Allen, which is probably not good for us. So with that being said, I think the Bills are the better team. I think the Bills are angry. I feel like Vegas putting this line at 12.5 is almost what's the word I'm looking for? It's like every week we do the same with the Jets, right? We're like, we come on here, we say they're gonna cover, and then they don't.
Oh no. I won last week. We could roll back the tape. I said the Jets were not gonna cover because I said the Jets were a young team. You lost. I just want to point that out there.
Okay. Well, I came on here and I thought that the Jets were going to cover last week. And to be fair, if Mike White plays, I probably do.
Oh, without a doubt. That's a close game if Mike White plays. Because he was on fire in Fuego.
But I'm still going to take Buffalo to cover. I just don't think that the Jets have the horses, especially defensively. No Marcus May back there. You're going to be going up against 4 receiver sets against Buffalo. It's going to be tough for us to stop it. So give me the Buffalo Bills to cover the 12.5-point spread.
Yeah, I want to argue with you, but it's tough, right? Like, this defense in particular has been ravaged by injuries this year. All 3 starting linebackers have been out for a stretch of games. Now all 3 safeties have been out for a stretch of games. The defensive line, we lost probably our best defensive lineman. Quinnen had foot surgery, lost Vinny Curry. Like, I don't know. Like, I've never seen a Jets team be ravaged like we have. But this defense in particular, the way that they've dealt with its injuries, I think is admirable. But this is the NFL. This is a results-driven league. And the Jets also got embarrassed last week. And I think the Jets will come out angry. But like you said, when you go position by position, I just think the Bills are way superior. The Bills are a championship-level team. What I want to see is if Mike White is the starting quarterback this week, I want to see if he's able to go toe-to-toe with Josh Allen, because I think Josh Allen's going to score at will on our defense. And I think for a stretch, it's possible, but that Buffalo defense is really good. So I think Buffalo's going to cover that spread, as do you.
Yeah, I don't see much being done about that from that side. So, I mean, look, it'll be about, seeing Mike White. Can he keep the magic going? Can Elijahmoore string his 3rd consecutive, really good game together? Can the coaching staff be able to cook up a game plan to stop Josh Allen? One of the things I think I talked about it when we hired Salah was one of the things I immediately wanted to, because of the NFC West played the AFC East last year. And one of the things I wanted to notice was, how did Salah do against the AFC East? Like, how did his defense with the Niners, how did they do against the AFC East? And that defense got shred apart by Josh Allen on like a Saturday.
I think we talked about that when Salah got hired.
No, yeah, we definitely did, because it was something I definitely thought about. It was something I definitely wanted to discuss, because that defense got absolutely shredded by Josh Allen on that Saturday night game or whatever it was. And if that was any indication of what it would look like, Josh Allen versus this defense, I was a little nervous. So I'm curious to see what the game plan looks like this week. Jacksonville, they gave Buffalo a lot of trouble by switching their defense to primarily a 2-shell defense, a 2-shell look with 2 high safeties, essentially daring Buffalo to run the ball and take the short to intermediate routes and, not live off that big play. That's similar to what teams have done to, Patrick Mahomes in Kansas City. So, does Salah and Ulbrich, do they steal that game plan, and say, hey, this is about winning this week and changing who we are just to get a win? Or do they stick to what they've done over these last couple weeks, knowing that hey, it might not work, but this is what we do. This is what our guys are comfortable doing. So let's go out and do that. So I'm curious to see how that plays out.
Yeah, and you remember they said they weren't going to have this magic elixir of type of defenses when in training camp, right? Like this is our defense, kind of like, remember the Titans, we have a small playbook, but it works like Novocaine, give it time, but it will work, And I just think that they're viewing this year as a growing year. Like I think they realize that they're such a young team, and that I don't think they really care that they might be picking high in the draft. I think they almost would prefer it. I think they want to win, but if they don't, I think they're okay with that.
Yeah, but I think that's more of that's more of the front office, right? That's not the coaching staff. The
You don't
coaching
think
staff,
so?
I don't know.
I'm
Right?
I'm asking you.
Like I don't know, but my guess is like as a coach, right? Like any coach is gonna not no coach is gonna go out there with the to put a game plan together to just lose, right? Like you may go out there saying, hey, we don't care to win. Like from a seeding perspective, you might say, hey, like, we don't care to win this game because we're not playing for anything. But any team, any coach, especially like Salah, who's trying to build a program, I don't think you put a game plan out there set to lose, right? Because you still have to earn credibility from like the players around. Like CJ Mosley, he's no slouch. He's gonna know like, hey, I watched a film. Like, this is what Jacksonville did against them. This is what the other teams did. Like, why aren't we running that? Right. Like, or, why are we going to do the exact opposite of what works? Right. Like, so, I think you still have to hold you still have to hold yourself accountable as a coach to your players, especially your veteran players, especially when you're building a program. So that's my thought there. But I'm curious to see again, how does there, I understand there's no magic elixir, right? There's no magic call, but there's still a game plan. And I'm sure 2-man is in your game. Like 2-man is in the playbook. Like it's very easy. And if it's not, it's very easy to put 2-man in the playbook, essentially, right? Like,
well, who's starting? Who's going to be the other safety this week?
They got to figure that out regardless. Regardless, they have to figure that out. Whether
I'm just asking. I don't know. I don't know who it is. Do you?
I think it's Sherrod Niesman.
I heard the Jets picked up John June.
Yeah. Okay.
No,
left, like play like deep left out.
I'll be right next to you.
You got good seats, bro. Like,
yeah, I know. Even though I think I could do a better job than McGovern at this point.
Okay, this is Frank's. Frank's had one too many pre-recording beers.
No, I
He's
didn't.
feeling himself a little too hard. Saying he's better than an NFL player at this point. Well, so this is the part where we're gonna end the pod, right? So we're gonna give our locks of the week.
Yeah,
so
Frank, we're done.
Frank, who's your lock of the week?
Oh, you let me go first? I'm gonna go. Yeah, I'm gonna go with Arizona, obviously, because that is my team that I've been riding all year. They are.
You have.
I know I have. They're -10. PJ Walker will be starting this week. I don't know if that's a good thing or bad thing for me. What do you think? Good thing or bad thing? What do we think, John? Who's the better quarterback at the moment?
The line's not going to move.
You think it would be -10 if Darnold was starting? Probably. The only thing that could possibly worry me, I don't know if Murray's playing this week. And Edmonds isn't playing this week.
It's pretty rough to take a lock like that if you don't know. But go ahead, man. Do what you got to do.
Lock it up.
All right. Man, there's nothing I really like. But let's get this pain out of the way early. Give me Baltimore. Give me Baltimore. I believe this line is -7.5. Yep, Baltimore -7.5 over the Miami Dolphins.
Why was that
Lock
painful?
it up.
Why was that painful?
No, just in case I lose. Let's get it out the way early.
Have we been keeping track?
Sure. Okay. I'm sure one of our loyal listeners has.
We need to ask Pablo.
Pablo, if you're listening, you've got your assignment. Or if you are our most loyal listener and you would like to tell us what the score is, we would greatly appreciate it.
Yeah.
Who knows? Frank has some prize ready for you.
I do.
Yeah. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. We love you. We appreciate you. And we'll catch y'all next week, Tuesday. We'll try to be 7 p.m., but there's no promises. There's no promises that the Jets will have. Well, they will be discussing a Jets win when that happens, but
we will be discussing the Jets.
We'll be discussing the Jets. That is a promise.
I promise.
We don't know if it'll be at 7, and we don't know if it'll be a win or a loss, but we do know we'll be here, and we will be live discussing the New York Jets. Until next time, y'all, have a good one, and we're out of here. Peace.